You ever wonder why so many companies are formed as LLCs? Why not a corporation or a partnership? What's so special about this LLC thing? Stick around because I'm going to break down the top 6 benefits of forming and operating as an LLC. Hi, I'm Aiden Durham, business and branding attorney with 180 Law Co. in Colorado. In the 8+ years that I've been a practicing attorney, I have formed well over 100 LLCs for my clients. What I have found to be especially interesting is that most of my clients know that they want to form an LLC for their business, but not many of them really know why they want to do that. And you know what I don't like? When people do things because they think they're supposed to. I want you to know why you're doing what you're doing. I don't want you doing it just because that's what everybody else does and you think you should be doing it. I want you to know why you're actually doing it. So in this video, I'm going to break down the top 6 reasons why you would want to form an LLC. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you don't miss any future episodes of All Up in Your Business. Check out the description as well for more resources, including my ultimate business checklist, which you can download for free. I'd also like to give a very special thanks to friends over at Tailor Brands for partnering with us for this episode. Tailor Brands is a one-stop shop for aspiring business owners. It's really an all-in-one solution if you've got this great idea for a business, but you don't really know where to start. From registering your LLC to designing your very own logo, Tailor Brands offers everything you need to launch your business all in one place. And right now, I have got a very special offer specifically for my All Up in Your Business family. If you head to Tailor Brands and use the promo code AllUpInYourBusiness40, that's All Up in Your Business 40, you'll save 40% on a Tailor Brands plan. That's right, save 40% on Tailor Brands plans by using All Up in Your Business 40 at checkout. All right, let's get into these top 6 benefits or reasons why you would want to form an LLC. The first reason, probably the most common or popular reason we would want to form and operate as an LLC, is for personal liability protection. The main reason, or at least one of the main reasons that a lot of us form and operate as an LLC is because we want to protect our personal liability and our personal assets. By forming an LLC, we have created an entity that is separate and distinct from ourselves. And so if there are debts, liabilities, or other obligations of the LLC, they belong to the LLC. And they are not our personal debts or personal liabilities. If the LLC gets sued, our personal bank accounts, our own home, our personal assets will be protected and safe. That is the number one reason that we typically operate and form as an LLC. But that is not a bulletproof protection that we get from the LLC. There is, of course, this concept of piercing the corporate veil. Instances where a judge or a court will set aside the LLC form and hold the members or the owners of the LLC personally responsible for the business's debts and liabilities. So there are a lot of things that we have to do in order to uphold and keep that liability protection and avoid piercing the corporate veil. Things like having separate bank accounts for business and personal, not commingling assets, our business and our personal assets. I've made a lot of videos about the risks, particularly of single member LLCs and how you can avoid those risks and avoid piercing the corporate veil. So I will link to some of those in the description if you want to learn more. Aside from that personal liability protection, the next benefit or another reason why you might want to form an LLC is for some of the tax benefits. Now, between an LLC and a sole proprietorship or an LLC and a partnership, you're not really going to see a whole lot of difference in taxes. An LLC is considered a pass-through entity. And because it's a pass-through entity, it avoids having to pay corporate tax or what we might call double taxation, which occurs in a traditional corporation, a C corporation. In a C corporation, the company, the corporation, pays its own income tax, pays its own tax on the income that it generates, and then it pays out its profits to its shareholders. And the shareholders then have to pay taxes on what they received as income. So in that sense, the income is being taxed twice, once to the corporation, then again to the shareholders. That doesn't happen in a pass-through entity. It's only taxed once at the individual or personal level. So operating as an LLC gives you that liability protection, but avoids that double taxation like you would have in a C corporation. But you also have the option as an LLC to elect to be taxed in a different way, such as an S corporation or even a C corporation. So it really is that flexibility and the ability to be taxed either as a corporation or as a pass-through entity, which is why we really like an LLC in a lot of cases. The third benefit to forming an LLC is that for the most part, it's relatively easy and inexpensive to form, especially compared to a corporation. Of course, this is going to vary state by state. Every state is different with regard to their fees or exactly what's required to set up an LLC. But the filing fees generally are going to be from, $50 up to maybe $500, a few $100, again, depending on the state. But it's typically going to be cheaper than maybe forming a corporation. And it is especially easy if you use a tool like Tailor Brands. You just click the link in the description, choose your state, and then hit Get Started. Then we will enter our LLC name. For my LLC, I'm going to call it What Else? Rocky's Riches. Hit Continue. Then we're going to tell it what type of business this is. Physical goods, offering services, leisure and hospitality. Maybe you are creating original content, technology or software, or something else. You can enter it there. We are going to select physical goods for Rocky's Riches. Then hit Next. Then we tell it what stage our business is at, whether we are ready to launch, still planning, or already making money. If we are going to have employees, let it do a little thinking, and then we will tell it what state we want the LLC to be formed in. I'm going to form in Colorado. Give it a little bit of information, your name, phone number, and email address. Then select the suffix that you want for the LLC, whether you want it to be LLC, limited liability company, or something else. I like good old LLC. We can sign up for registered agent service as well, or appoint our own registered agent. They've even got these helpful tips here letting us know what a registered agent is. We can add an EIN or employer identification number to the package if you want them to get that for you as well. Annual compliance is always a good thing to have. Make sure your annual reports are filed on time, and we can even add an operating agreement onto our package here. If you want to speed up the filing, you can do that, or just go with regular processing. And then finally, look over everything you've got. We've got the LLC filing. They're going to do a name availability search and that priority support for Rocky's Riches LLC. We've got the registered agent, employee ID number, annual compliance, operating agreement, and expedited filing. If everything looks good, click Pay Now, enter your payment info, and then let Tailor Brands do the rest. It really doesn't get easier. My number 4 benefit of forming an LLC is that there's typically going to be less paperwork and fewer ongoing compliance requirements compared to a corporation. In many states, when we set up a corporation, the state has requirements that we have maybe an initial shareholder meeting or a board of directors meeting. There are requirements in many states for annual meetings or keeping meeting minutes. Corporations have a lot of statutory requirements typically. LLCs, on the other hand, usually don't have these requirements. They're typically more options, not requirements. Where a corporation must have an organizational meeting, an LLC may have it. Where a corporation must hold regular or annual meetings, a LLC may call regular or annual meetings. All of these requirements that we would typically generally see in a corporation are almost always going to be optional for us LLCs. The next benefit to operating as an LLC is that we get a lot of flexibility with regard to management and managing the operations of the LLC. LLCs can be member managed, where the members or owners of the LLC are in charge of the day-to-day operations and are able to act on behalf of the LLC. Or LLCs can be manager managed, where the members elect managers who are in charge of the day-to-day operations and can act on the LLC's behalf. But there are also situations where we could have like a board of managers, similar to a board of directors in a corporation. So really, regardless of how you want to structure the ownership or management of your company, you can usually do so pretty easily with an LLC. And finally, the last reason, my number 6 reason or benefit of forming an LLC is that it can give you some credibility in your business. Operating as an LLC lets people know that you're taking your business seriously. This isn't just a hobby or a fly-by-night thing that you may be done with. No, you're investing serious efforts. You've invested money into forming a legit business for your legit business, and it makes you more legit. So all in all, it's a good idea to form an LLC if you're looking for personal liability protection, flexibility with regard to your taxes, an easy and inexpensive setup process, fewer ongoing compliance requirements, management flexibility, and business credibility. Of course, it's always best to consult with an attorney and have an attorney help you with the LLC setup process. Every state's different. Every state's going to be a little different with regard to what is required, what kind of info you need to provide. So it's best to have an attorney help you with it so you do everything properly. Another option, if you can't afford to work with an attorney, is to use a trusted service like Tailor Brands. Whether you're just getting started and want to set up your LLC, or if you're already up and running and just want to freshen up your logo and other brand assets, Tailor Brands has you covered with their all-in-one solution. Don't forget, you can check them out at this link and use the code AllUpInYoBusiness40. That is AllUpInYoBusiness40 to save 40% on Tailor Brands plans. If you got value out of this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and share this video with all of your friends. Check the description as well for more resources like my ultimate new business checklist that you can download for free. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time.